What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, give you guys my review on it. This one surprised me, and you can see from the title, we're going to talk a lot about this. I want to first, of course, thank Capcom. Honestly, quite the surprise. They gave me a review code the day the game came out. I played it, and I put in way more hours than I thought I would. I got much further than I thought I would, and I actually loved it. Now, there's a difference between me loving Dead Rising and then what the remaster is. And I want to talk about that as well, right? There's been some controversy. There's been some changes to the game. I do want to bring that up, just to be fair, to all sides. But I do want to lead with, I owe the original game an apology. Something I said leading in was, I'm interested in this remaster. There's a whole video of me talking about it. I'm into it, but at the same time, I never liked the series. I played the first game probably too young. Honestly, when I wasn't, I didn't play enough games to really get it. And that's my main apology. I based the entirety of the Dead Rising series off of, 1 or 2 days of playing the first game when I was probably, 11, 12 years old, and I didn't like it. But now I feel like I get it, and I had an absolute blast. So I just want to kind of start off by saying it. If you're like me and you're saying, Alex, I never played them. The last one was a while ago, and, I don't know too much about the series, but from the fan opinion, at least what I see online, the games kind of got worse over time. So maybe you've never played a game, right? Or maybe you played one or two of them kind of like me and, just never got into it. I honestly recommend it. I would say that just first and foremost, I think you might really enjoy this game. So now I want to kind of talk, okay, let's go polar opposite, right? In terms of the remaster, right? Is this the best place to play? Well, I'm not here to BS you. I'm not here to lie to you. I actually don't know. There was the 2016, I think that's the year, that version, the game got some sort of, whether it was a port or some sort of light remaster treatment. And that game, I think from what I understand, stayed, more close to the original than this one did. I'm not here to tell you guys what to believe. I'm not here to, push any of that stuff. I know there's been people that are pretty upset with some of the changes, and I've seen some of the stuff, different lines have been swapped out with different characters, and kind of weird lines, right? Some of the side bosses have different lines to you now versus the original. Don't really understand why they did that. Some things with, clothing and, picture taking and stuff like that has been removed. So, again, I just kind of want to be fair to all sides, and here's what I'll tell you, okay? Here's what I'll honestly say. If this is the first time you played it, so you're like me, right? I don't remember the first. I remember what the game is, what you actually do, but I couldn't remember the story. I couldn't remember any of the characters, nothing like that. If this is your first time, if you've got nothing to base it on, do those changes in any way hurt this game? No. No, I mean, that honestly is just my flat-out opinion. The changes do absolutely nothing. Now, if you're into that purity of, hey, I don't like them changing things, well, there are some things that are changed, and I get that. I get if that's kind of that line in the sand that you don't want to cross. But I will again say, coming from somebody that, I had to watch videos of what the changes were. I didn't know them on my own because I never played the original, right? The changes to me, playing them, kind of uniquely for the first time, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't hurt the game in any way, nothing like that. And then, okay, well, I kind of covered both ends of the spectrum there, right? How about the game itself? Well, I think just the core of this game is something I wasn't ready for. Again, as a kid kind of growing up, I love it. I love the arcadiness of this game and kind of pushing the, hey, kind of do whatever, right? There's a clock. You have to have time management, but I think that really screwed with me, when I was younger. Now it's like, okay, well, you got a couple hours, so I can go save a couple of these survivors, pivot, and complete the story mission before it's too late, right before I miss anything. And, I am kind of OCD with that stuff. If you give me in an open world game all the question marks on a map, I'm inclined to do most of them. Witcher 3 kind of broke me as a person. In this game, it doesn't have too much to do. I actually kind of respected it. You can tell I think 2006 is when this game came out. You can tell that energy. You can tell hey, even with this remaster, right? It looks beautiful. It looks really good. I think they're using the engine they use with the RE games, but it's okay, there's a lot of things on screen, and things will pop up from time to time to do, but it's not overwhelming. There's not 1,000 question marks. There's not 1,000 side quests. There's, hey, help out these survivors. There's survivors all throughout the mall. Go out, explore, find the stores. Different stores will have different items that you might need for a person that you're trying to save. It might have a weapon, right? Like adventure out, find the gun store, find the knife store, something that I kind of did probably a little later than I probably should have, right? Face some side bosses. The side bosses are insane, right? They'll be like the clown. There'll be all these different kind of crazy things. Now, again, the arcadiness sometimes I think gets in this game's way. That clown was the first side boss that I faced in this game. I want to say I died like 20 times, but it's kind of a learning experience because, again, like the game, it teaches you a little, but mainly you're supposed to just go out and kind of figure things out as you go, right? Like there's an entire store for health items. Again, some like weapon shops that are better than others. You got to explore. You got to take out zombies. You got to take pictures. You got to save survivors. Raise your level. You'll get more items, right? Or more item slots so you can pick stuff up. Your health will increase. You'll get more moves. And these things kind of stack, right? And then when you're just like out and about and you're, I don't know, just tearing zombies up, right? With a mini chainsaw, normal chainsaw, baseball bat, whatever it is, there does feel like that arcadiness there. Like I almost, again, like basically playing this for the first time, I felt like there almost should have been like the numbers that pop up. Almost like Bulletstorm. Like that's one that actually came up in my head where, if you were to do like a kill where you get like 12 zombies at a time, there's kind of like a multiplier, I think, in the top left, but it just felt like something where the controls itself, some of like the non-gravity, right? Because you can kind of jump a little bit more floaty, right? And the enemies sometimes, again, like that stupid clown, he can kind of jump floaty as well. But, it has that arcadey feel where when I was slicing them up, I almost felt like there should have been numbers, like, blasting out of these enemies. But that's just the kind of game that it felt. But overall, I had a blast. I mean, that's my main takeaway. The gameplay, it's tight to a degree. I think, the only gameplay thing that kind of got me mad at times is the boxes of like where the enemies will grab you. Sometimes I feel like they're just not consistent. Sometimes I can walk. I try to push my luck. So I would walk in hordes of zombies, right? I felt like Rick in The Walking Dead. You walk by hordes of zombies, and 8 times out of 10, they're actually not going to get you. You're going to have just that right angle or whatever. Other times, you'll feel like they shouldn't get you, and then they'll grab you. And that's probably the only thing that maybe that felt like the sign of the times, right? Like 2006, whatever, where like the hit boxes or like the grab boxes, I guess, aren't exactly great. But I think the gameplay in this game is really, really good. I think it's a fun game. I think just the core system of the time management, but it's not overbearing, especially in this one, right? So this one's got the new controls. That's one part, with this being a remaster, a deluxe remaster. Visuals look better. And the auto saves. Now, I'm terrible. Like, I'm pretty bad. I got better as the game went, but I needed to rely on auto saves quite a bit, especially early on. If I was playing this, again, that kind of old school style, and that's fine. Like, I think that actually adds a feel to this game as well. But if you're going and it's like, okay, well, you got to save, and if you're not saving and there is no auto save, you could be sent back. Oh my God, you could be sent back 5 to 10 hours for all you know, right? It's just got that feel, but I really, really can appreciate the loop, basically the loop that this game puts you in. As far as the characters and the story and stuff like that, gotta be honest, I don't really care. Like the characters are the characters. I think some of them are definitely better than others. Like some of them stood out, I guess. Some of them didn't stand out. But, I think the story overall is pretty okay. I don't know. I never get really invested into maybe like a Resident Evil, I get invested into the story, I guess, kind of depending on which one you're talking about. But to be flat out honest with you, the story and the characters are the least of my concern with this. To be honest, for me, it's like, if I saw survivors, I tried my best to get them. Unless they were really like weighing me down or, they just wouldn't listen to me or they kind of got caught in a horde, like then I would leave them, sadly. But, besides that, it wasn't really about the personality of the characters. It was just, oh, you're going to give me XP. And that XP can be used, because again, my health is going to increase or I can carry that extra melon. Of course, you need those melons, right? Like all that kind of stuff, right? So, that's really where the narrative and stuff like that. I think, there are times where it tries to do stuff like the the grandfather, I think, in like the outdoor store, like the one you can get like the lawnmower and stuff like that. They all are kind of wacky, right? They're all kind of like personas, like over exaggerated personas of real people. But some of them can get a little bit more, like to the heart. But overall, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really find anything too special with the story, with the character, even like Frank, things like that. That's not what I was drawn to with this game. It's about the gameplay loop, and it's about, just kind of figuring things out, seeing how many survivors. I mean, I kind of even pushed myself, like, hey, can I save 2 or 3 survivor groups at once, right? Because like in the beginning, I was kind of just doing one at a time, but then I would leave some and they would die, right? So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can try to do like 2 or 3 of these missions at a time, but sometimes you need to give somebody something, and then, they got to follow you. You can give them weapons to defend themselves, all that jazz. And you almost like extend or increase the difficulty on yourself, right? Like there's the base difficulty, and you can kind of make it easier on yourself. Like, there's I don't know if it's a glitch or not, but the clown with the mini chainsaw, you can go there as many times as you want. I think you can load up your inventory just with mini chainsaws. Now, I didn't do that, but I believe you can. So, you have things like that, or you could try to, maybe kill as little zombies as you want, try to save all the survivors. Like there's almost mini games that the game gives you without actually telling you, that you can kind of just go off. So yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I had a blast. I actually couldn't believe it. And it's why, like, I can't believe it. I think I have pretty good taste in games, especially after I play them, right? Sometimes I get excited for a game that maybe lets me down. But when I play a game, I feel pretty good putting myself up against the internet in terms of, like, opinions. I don't feel like I'm wrong about, that many games all that often. Watch Dogs was a big one that I think I messed up on. I actually really love Watch Dogs 1, and originally I hated it. And I would say Dead Rising. Those would be my top 2 of games that, for whatever reason, just did not connect with me originally. But I mean, I really love it. I'm like genuinely serious. Again, to be fair, is this the best place to play it? Well, for me, the autosave thing is huge. The visuals, I think, really helps. Like, it looks like it's it looks like 2024. It doesn't feel like it, but I think that's the soul of Dead Rising. I wouldn't want that changed anyway, right? But again, the changing of certain lines and things like that, I get it. I get it from a purist perspective. People don't want that changed, especially somebody who, say, was actually in love with the first game, unlike me. And so, when they're doing this remaster, you want it untouched. You want the experience just put in 2024. So I could get that. I could absolutely understand that. But for me, as I said, I think I'd really stand on, I get that, but if you didn't know the changes, it doesn't hurt the game in any way. And so it kind of just depends, I would say, on who you are. Like, have you played this game multiple times? Are you okay with the versions you've already played? Like, what's your situation, right? That's kind of what this depends on. But if you've never played it before, or you want to give it like a second try, I think this is a pretty good place to jump in. I gotta be real. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.